There was some reactions, including Van Jones, and I want to get two different reactions. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's rock.
There were flashes of the Kamala that I know, who is really a true public servant. She really does work for real people. And in the back of her mind, she is trying to figure out, how do I solve the problem? She sometimes skips, even in person, she'll sometimes skip the human part and get to the problem-solving part. But there were flashes of it. And I think the question, if you're at home trying to figure this out, you can ask, well, could she have done this? Could she have done this better? Your job isn't to do town halls. Your job is to fight for people. Does she seem like somebody who is going to take seriously the problems of ordinary people and try to get an answer?
And the answer is no. And the answer is no. Is Van Jones, we know, listen, we know Van Jones from crying a lot. We know Van Jones from crying a lot. Is he listening to what he say before he say it? Is he listening to what he's saying before he's saying? Trump told a story about Van when he was in office. Everybody's turned on Trump. Laura Trump actually talked about that on the Breakfast Club. I told y'all about that, and I had that. I highlighted that whole conversation, not the whole thing, but a lot of that conversation yesterday in the premiere, right? When I had to get y'all that show and all of that. Van, listen, he keep telling us she showed flashes of the Kamala Harris that I know. What does that even mean? Her job is not to do town halls. Her job is to fix problems. So what has she fixed? We see what's happening at the border, bro. Nobody is crazy. Nobody is look, I know a lot of people that think that they solving a problem, but they actually making it exponentially worse. I know a lot of people, listen, you got, and I hate to use y'all as an example, but y'all are the lowest hanging fruit for me to use as an example. So we're gonna go there. I see Hebrew Israelites on the corners in different cities that I go to, Miami, Detroit, and they have their dashikis on, and they have their shingles at the bottom of their shirts and stuff like that. They're like their lampshade bottom things that grandma used to have in her household, and they have their smoke, and they keep their dusty, they be having dusty kids and stuff like that. That's on the side of the road. They be cold. Their hairs be beat up, and they think that they're actually doing the right thing. They believe in their hearts. Yes, they have their WWE belts on. They believe in their hearts that they're doing the right thing. They believe in themselves. They think that being out here harassing people, keeping them from going to their jobs, and then I seen one guy. I say, you know what? That's that same guy that's out there with them lampshades on and his WWE belt. Let me see what he get into. He's telling them how they need to get their life together. And I could not be any more clear. Had to be a 1991 Ford Escort, and it was polluting the air. It was polluting the air. And I said, Jesus, they stand in the parks and they harass good joggers, people that are trying to keep their health up. And they believe in their hearts that they're doing the right thing by standing on a corner with a Bible that they don't understand, with their kids and their wives cold, going to go with the same shirts on that they purchased from the white man that they're preaching against, preventing people from going to work and harassing people in the park. And they didn't even brush their hair or their teeth before they got out there, right? And they believe that they're working on behalf of the people. So if your belief is misguided, then that means that you become a demon. If your belief is misguided, Hitler believed in what he really stood for. That's why he did the things that he did. George W. believed the things that he stood for. That's why he did the things that he did. Now, it doesn't matter the level of atrocity that it afflicts the American people on, but just because you believe it doesn't mean that it's right. Okay? That's what turns you into a demon. is that you believe so fervently in your cause, even though you are wrong, that you become demonic and deranged in your thinking, and then you start seeing everybody else as the enemy, which is why you're on the corner harassing good folk that are going to work every day.
And I think she passed that test. I think that the word salad stuff gets on my nerves. I think that some of the evasions are not necessary. But when she's talking about trying to get you a house, I believe her. When she starts, like, I'm trying to get you to help for your mama who's sick, I believe her.
Yeah.
When she's talking about, I'm going to do what I can to bring prices down, I may not agree with those tools, but I believe she's going to try to apply them. And so I believe this is somebody who actually cares about people. And I think that she passed that test tonight. So
How did she pass it? That town hall was a disaster, and she didn't care about people.
on how she did it and some of that stuff got on my nerves. But I believe that she is going to
But you
fight for the
described
American
it as
people.
flashes. But then
Yeah,
your
yeah,
follow-up
yeah.
seemed like a much more of a
But I'm
brighter
saying,
endorsement.
Yeah. But I'm saying that there were flashes of the person I didn't get a chance to say because I got interrupted. There were flashes of the person that I know. There are flashes of the person I know that I've seen as a district attorney at the grassroots level in San Francisco, fighting for regular people, giving young people an opportunity. So one of those young people, by the way, is going to Congress. I know this woman.
And
there
let
are
me
flashes of
also say, because I see we got some shout out to my Hebrew Israelites. You know, I'm gonna say what I feel it, what I mean. See, the one thing about me is that you can't say that I'm fake, because I'm gonna say what I really mean, regardless of how people feel. But let me say this: don't get offended if you a Hebrew Israelite and you not one of the ones that is standing on the corners with lampshades on. All right, it doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It means that you're misguided, right? And the examples that you guys are putting out to the general public are horrible. It doesn't mean that all of y'all are bad. It don't mean that all of y'all kids is dusty. I understand that there's some that's doing really well, but your belief is your belief. But when it starts to be imposed on other people, unwarranted on street corners, it becomes a problem. And it's the same thing with Christians. I criticize the black church and Christians, even though I identify as a Christian, because the representation of what Christian is wrong from so many different people like Jamal Bryant that are letting Kamala Harris, after she says some of the egregious things that she says and lives her life the same way, is wrong. It's wrong. And so I call out everybody. I call out people within my own life, my own family. I have my own brothers, and my own mom called in and I said, I disagree with you on a lot of issues. I disagree with you. I don't agree with everything that everybody says. I don't agree with everything that Trump does. But the overwhelming majority of what he does is what's best for America when you consider the two candidates. I don't agree with every single thing that everybody that's on my panel say. But it doesn't mean that they're not a good person or they're not human. But the examples that we have rolling out to disrespect and also diminish the word of God is ultimately what we see. And so that's the thing that we have to address. It's just the facts. Sometimes we got some people that make us look bad. It's just the facts. And sometimes you're going to agree with me and sometimes you're going to disagree with me. But as long as you're not overly disrespectful, I think that everybody can have a voice. And that's what makes for a great conversation, is that we don't live in an echo chamber.
That. And then some other stuff, it got lost in the sauce.
I think Republicans would take another hour of Kamala Harris. We'd just press play, let her keep going. We'd pay
Facts.
for another hour to let her keep not answering the questions. I think Anderson's asking her, well, why haven't you done it? You've been there for 4 years. Why haven't you done any of this? And the word salad answer she gave to that was just mind-boggling. I mean, it's blown up the internet, her answer to that question. I think the things that are troubling for people were her responses to, Van said about what you're going to do to reduce costs when they asked her at the beginning. We're hurting economically. She said, I'm going to prosecute corporations.
Yeah, that's
right?
horrible.
That's not going to lower costs. How are you going to make things better for me? I'm going to prosecute people. Trump bad is not a message that's going to get her elected. Trump bad message. I disagree with you, Alyssa. There, I don't think it's going to happen.
You're referring to the fact that she kept
whole
bringing up
point
the
about,
Hitler and Atlantic
you have to bring something else. Right? Was she for a wall or was she against a wall? I couldn't tell from her answer. Right? Anderson kept asking her, well, listen, you laughed at the wall, but now it's in your plan. Are you for it or against it? there was so much mishmash in there. I don't know what was going on. I think it's very generous to say that she showed up, right? I think the key, if she loses here in this race, people are going to look back and her team is going to say, we should have been doing this from the very get-go because reps make you better, right? And the more you do this, the better you get. She's still not at it. We're 13 days out from an election, and everyone's hoping she's going to get better. The Wall Street Journal just came out with a poll while this was going on. She's losing altitude rapidly. Rapidly.
If you believe that, Paul.
If you believe that. So it's funny because I don't care about polls, but I know that people like Van Jones and Democrats often at times cite polls when it's in their favor. I don't care about polls. You've never seen me ever reference a poll to justify whether or not a candidate is going to win or going to lose because I'm on the streets and I actually get to talk to people in real life and I get to gauge what the sentiment of the people is and if this is something that's going to work out in their favor. And Van Jones and a lot of Democrats are in a very difficult position. They're in the. I believe that Trump is going to get close to 100 million votes. I do. I think he's going to win the popular vote. I think he's going to win the swing states. I don't think there's going to be a swing state that swings in her favor. I think y'all are about to have a real. Actually, it's going to be beneficial for y'all because us Republicans, we're bringing y'all along, kicking and screaming. She was a disaster on the stage for the town hall. Now you have, as my dog Fa Brown says, they're lowering the bar for her in order to help her jump over, just like they do every single diversity, equity, inclusion position. And I believe that it is going to be a wash. We are 100%. If it's anything, see, they wasn't counting on people like me to have the conversations that I'm having over and over. I've been gearing up for this. I've been talking about these issues and what's happening on our political landscape for anybody that's been here for an extended period of time for the last 2.5 years straight. My first ever report on Kamala Harris was in 2021 when it was reports coming out of the White House that said that she was difficult to work with and that people around her in her own cabinet was quitting her team and that Biden didn't even like her. There were reports that were coming out of the White House, and then I started covering the immigration crisis, and I said, wait a minute, who's in charge of this? And then I seen the video come out of Biden announce that Kamala Harris was in charge of what's happening at the border and to solve for the problems. And I've been watching and I've been paying attention to her for a long time. I've deep dived into her career as a prosecutor. I looked at how she came up. I looked at all of her previous debates. I started evaluating everything that she had going on. I've been paying attention to her for a long time. And I predicted that she was going to be the one that they use in order to push Biden out of the White House because he was too old, and that she would be the one that would be running for president of the United States of America. I said one of two scenarios was going to happen. Either they were going to push Biden out, or he was going to at some point retire so that she can then actually become president of the United States of America and then would run as the incumbent. I predicted that one of the two things was going to happen. And boy, I'm telling you, look at Apple giving me all of my flowers. I've been watching her for a long time. She has been incompetent for a long time. And then when the story came out about the whole election interference thing, I said, yeah, we can't do this. I had to make it my mission to make sure that we understand exactly who we were dealing with, because a lot of times we vote based off of identity politics and gender politics, but we don't vote on the person that's going to be best for the United States of America. We don't.